Greetings! This is Chris Ruby, the Nostalgic Catholic, with yet another Isaac Asimov short story. Once again, I don't have the original publication of the story. This time it came in a very obscure magazine known as American Way. With a name like that, you'd think it'd be one of those patriot publications. Like Superman fighting for truth, justice, and the American way. But actually, that's the name of the magazine that they would have on board the airplanes of the American Airlines. So, anyway, trying to find a magazine from American Airlines back in 1976 is a very, very difficult pursuit. The story, thankfully, has been gathered into this volume, Best Mysteries of Isaac Asimov. So what have we got in here? Well, there's a lot of different mysteries. A lot of them are short stories. He's collected a bunch of Black Widowers mysteries, all of which are available elsewhere. Some Union Club mysteries, some of which are not available elsewhere. So that at least is good. And then a tiny smattering of what's called miscellaneous mysteries, including some of the ones we've already touched on so far. However, the one we're looking at is a story called Halloween. And Halloween is seen on page 325 of this book. Wow, Halloween. 325. So, we go to 325, and wow, we're almost at the end of this thing. A lot of these stories are very short, including this one. And though it's very simple. There's a preface here. I don't know if it's in the original publication. Oh, he introduces this. This was written on order. I do a regular column for American Way, the in-flight magazine of American Airlines, on what the future might be like in one way or another. So apparently he'd been writing stuff for this magazine, mostly non-fiction articles of some sort or another. Seems like almost anything from the era ought to be of some interest to find something from Isaac Asimov in them. Very cool. I have done 160 of these articles so far. That's a lot. But every once in a long while, the magazine asks for a piece of fiction from me. This is the mystery story I wrote for them. This was written before I had begun my Union Club mysteries, but in my opinion, this could have become one of them with very little in the way of a change. So, kind of an honorary Union Club mystery. That's as close into that as I'm going, because I'll be dealing with the Black Widowers, the Union Club, if I can get to them at some point down the pike at all, as just the books in which they're collected. I don't want to try to round up every one of these numerous stories. So, where they originally came out, I've done that already, and it's wearing me down. Maybe I can cover the stories as bundled up in books. At Union Club, they got gathered into one book. Sadly, there are some Union Club stories that are not there, a few of which are here, and some of which I will probably just not get to. I'm sorry for that. Or Azazel stories, which I've already talked about in a review of Azazel, which collects either all or nearly all of the George and his little pocket demon Azazel stories. So, but this not actually being that, I will cover this. So, we have somebody who had stolen a little bit of plutonium. Not enough to make a bomb, mind you, but plutonium. So let's say you had a little ball of solid plutonium, maybe the size of a golf ball. It's not enough for a bomb. If it was the size of a softball, you might have a nuclear explosion on your hand. But the size of a golf ball is just a lump of metal, and actually it would be kind of warm to the touch. Not that you want to spend a lot of time letting this thing touch you. It mainly radiates alpha particles, which are pretty much stopped by your skin. So that it's not going to do too much. It could give you skin lesions if you allow yourself to get exposed to it very much. But they don't penetrate any deeper. It's primarily alpha radiations as the plutonium decays into uranium from element 94 to element 92. So, but he has this little piece of plutonium, and it could still be used for a different kind of dirty bomb. And that would be if you just put it in the midst of conventional explosions that would just vaporize, particularize, or scatter the ball of plutonium into a large cloud of the regular conventional explosion and spread this stuff. Well, you could be inhaling plutonium particles, and it could still be a very dirty bomb. So it is actually a serious thing that this has been stolen. Now, somebody had stolen it, and let's see, how dangerous is the plutonium? It's not dangerous, it's a small value. You can hold it in your hand. So the possible danger, well, the person who stole it was captured, or he had to be gunned down, and he's dying. He gave a dying word as the only hint. Where did you put it? Where did you put it? I guess he was hoping it would be found. He'd prefer it might have been found by one of his Confederates, but maybe if he's just found by somebody else. So, he said one word. Halloween. That was the only hint. It was in a hotel. They knew that much. The only thing he'd said was Halloween, and then he was gone. What did he mean by that? Well, let's just say, reading it on my own, at least I could take a limited pride in having figured out half of the answer. Because what I have failed to realize is this would be a multi-story hotel, more than 10 stories at least. I mean, any number of more stories. This is like big city hotel like you'd find in New York or someplace where a lot of buildings are dozens or even hundreds of stories tall. I mean, just unbelievable. So it would make sense to use, say, a 4-digit number for your hotel room, a couple digits to identify the room on a floor, and another couple to identify the floor. If I thought about that detail and realized that, I think I would have been able to guess the whole thing. But I didn't. I only guessed half of it. And if you give it a moment's thought, you should be able to figure out the easy half. And now with that additional detail that seems to be taken for granted, you might be able to figure out the whole thing, even before the person in the story figures it out. That's all I have to say for that. It's not much of a story. It's kind of a puzzle type story. Thanks for listening.